Hey guys, Eric Connor from Nerdy Geek Talk, the source for all your nerdy geeky needs, here with episode 4 of Why So Super. And so for episode 4 of Why So Super, I'm doing a character that I have alluded to for a little while now, is Venom, because he's a bit more complicated than the rest. So what makes Venom so special? To start off, he's really interesting because he's not, it's debatable what he is, to be honest. You can say that Venom is just the symbiote, but you can also argue that Venom is only half. Venom is only half of Venom is the symbiote. The other half is whatever the host is, and that you have to have a host and the symbiote to be Venom. You can argue either way, but either way, it's interesting that, like Carnage, he's a character that he isn't just one mind, it's two minds. That there's a symbiote, it's a living thing, the costume that is over the host who is making decisions, stuff like that. They influence each other. And so he's had a multitude of hosts. That's something that's really interesting about Venom versus Carnage. Carnage is stuck with one. He has a solid identity. Venom has had multiple hosts. There's multiple people who have taken on the identity of Venom. Eddie Brock is the most common one, the most well-known one, but you've also had, Matt Gargan, Scorpion. You've had Agent Venom, so you've had, oh gosh, the name is slipping my mind. Gosh, Flash Thompson. Jeez, I can't believe I forgot that. I love Agent Venom, and Space Knight Venom is one of my favorite costume designs. But he's gone through several changes throughout the year. He tends to be an anti-hero bad guy. Like, usually a bad guy, but sometimes an anti-hero. But he's also gone all the way to superhero. That's something that a lot of characters, there's not a lot of characters I could say have done that, like gone back and forth, especially because he's not a hero anymore. He's gone back to being not a villain, but not a superhero like Agent Venom, just straight up, and Space Knight Venom was just a straight up superhero that was not a villain at all. I mean, struggling to control inner demons, but still, he's he's become a full-fledged hero. So he has that going back and forth. The only other hero I can think of that's kind of like that is Prowler, but not as much as Venom. Venom is really back and forth, anti-hero, villain, that kind of stuff, and then straight up hero, back to anti-hero slash villain. Also, now that we've got Venomverse, there's a billion different hosts for Venom there, but that's alternate dimension, so I won't count that. It's really neat, though. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend checking out that story. Not saying it's an amazing story, but it's really, really cool if you don't think about it too much. Um, but yeah, it's kind of interesting that his powers are he he has this inner conflict. So let's just get that first. He has this inner conflict he's always dealing with. He doesn't like Spider-Man, but he wanted to be Spider-Man. He had this rejection from Peter Parker when Peter Parker realized what it was. Just, no, I'm not doing this. And gets rid of the suit because it's causing these violent tendencies, which have always been there. Now, apparently, they're technically caused by Deadpool, according to the Back in Black story, but it's debatable how real that is or not. But either way, Venom always has these inner demons that the symbiote is dealing with that have been reflected across hosts, whether it be the hosts also have that problem, which makes it worse for the symbiote, or the symbiote has the problem and, Flash Thompson is trying to make it better. Um, but there's always inner conflict, which is always really interesting to watch because he doesn't know what he is. He doesn't know if he's a killer or if he's a superhero. He's something in the middle, but he doesn't know what he is. And that's why another thing that I think makes him stand out so much is that his identity is never solid. He doesn't know what he is. Even when he was a superhero with Agent Venom and Space Knight Venom, he was still struggling to control himself. He didn't have a 100% solid identity, which I think is something that everyone can relate to. Nobody knows who they are 100%. We always have doubts. We have stuff like that. And Venom's an extreme take on that, where he always has a strong inner conflict that he's dealing with no matter what. And so I think that's the main thing that makes him stand out. Also, needless to say, costume's really cool. The design has changed several times. I really do like the Space Knight Venom suit, which is I'd say the most drastic take on all of the main Venom suits we've gotten. But I understand why some people don't like it. Either way, Venom's costume is pretty cool. It's not as scary as Carnage is, but it is intimidating if you were to see someone standing in front of you in any of them, really. They would not be super like, oh, that's so cute. No, it's like, oh man, that's scary. Not as scary as Carnage, but it'd be intimidating is the word. Um, who's my favorite host as Venom? It's complicated. It's really complicated. That's the answer. Uh, Probably, I'm not going to count Deadpool because that's just funny. I'd probably say Flash Thompson as Agent Venom, Space Knight Venom is so interesting. He even joined up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I find it to be the most interesting take on Venom. I also do appreciate the Space Knight Venom costume design. It's pretty neat. But, I like all of them, and I understand why people like all the different hosts for different reasons. I am really interested to see how the Venom movie next year turns out because I'm very interested in that. I love Venom. I think he's such an interesting character, especially because they're supposed to be bringing in Carnage, and so that's an interesting deal where you see Venom dealing with his own identity, and then you see Carnage, who's almost one side, with this extreme side of Venom's personality, come out, and it's almost making Venom realize that no, I don't want that part of me. Like I don't want it to be part of me. That's him. I don't want to be like that. And he goes toward his lighter side. But it's also interesting just to see his inner conflict all the time and whether or not they'll tie it into Spider-Man because he tends to be a big deal in terms of Venom's origins. But with the new movie, we have no idea if they're going to go that direction or not. I'm very interested though, and I think it's pretty safe to say that Venom is considered a pretty super character by most people because everyone loves Venom. So that's about it for this episode. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and that's about it. So, see ya. Bye.